prayer that meets every Saturday at various churches around town. There are 100 and how many churches? 127 churches that participate. They'll be meeting here on October 13th, Saturday morning from 8 to 9. And these are staunch prayer warriors that come together and pray for the city, pray for revival in the nation. And it's such an important ministry. We found out, Mike and I found out, Mike was raised in Washington, D.C., but we found out we have a number of things in common. Number one, he went to school in Pennsylvania, not far from where I grew up in Clarion, right? Clarion College. And we both happen to have black roots. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Mr. Mike Hatch, Master of Balm of Gilead.
What you want, baby, I know. What you need,
Way to go, Bill. And so Bill and I are related by the blood of the Lamb. Amen. We thank God just for this opportunity to be here tonight. It's getting late, so I'm going to kind of cut some things short. One thing that has concerned me, since 1988, I got saved in 1988 in Columbus, Ohio. And when I got saved, the first thing God allowed me to see was the division in the body of Christ. The first thing he showed me in 1988 was the division along the lines of ethnicity, denomination, worship style. We can go on and on and on and on. And he spoke to me first and said, "What is the black church?" And it was a moment of silence. He said, "There's no such thing as the black church. There's no such thing as the white church, the Filipino church, the Mexican church. There's only one church. There's all those that believe in Jesus Christ. Only one." And he put me on he put a mandate in my life to bring unity to the body of Christ. To bring unity to the body of Christ. And some have patted me on the back for it, and I'm like, there's no need for a pat on the back, because all of us should be doing that. Right. It's nothing that should be, so unusual. Wow, somebody believes in unity. I mean, that's something that we all have a mandate to do. And I saw a sign on Craig Road about 15 years ago. It was a little white boy and a little black boy playing together. And it said, "No one is born a bigot." No one is born a bigot. That means all prejudice and those issues are all learned behavior. They're all learned behavior. Which is a result of sin. Which is a result of sin. And so here we are in 2018, and America is in trouble. However, God is still on the throne. So I hear many talking about how America's going down and America's going to be judged and all this, that, and the other. Well, you know what? I don't believe that. Because I believe there's a church that's praying in this country. That God has said, if I can find 10 righteous, that's right, I'll spare the nation. Right. Wow. And so when I look at it from that perspective, we have to look at what it's going to take, what happened, and what is it going to take for America to have what I call true revival. Revival. We are in need of revival. Yes, things are bad. But it's not the first time in America that things have been bad. This is nothing new. It's not like it's the first time that this has happened. And so I'm going to read a couple of scriptures really quick. Then I'm going to give you just a couple of notable prayers that were prayed in our country. The first passage I'm going to read is in the book of Daniel, chapter 10, verse 1 through 13. In the third year of Cyrus, king of Persia. Isn't that interesting? Cyrus. I'm going to talk about Cyrus in a minute, because Cyrus is in charge right now. In the third year of Cyrus, king of Persia, a revelation was given to Daniel, who was called Belteshazzar. Its message was true, and it concerned a great war. The understanding of the message came to him in a vision. At that time, I, Daniel, mourned 3 weeks. I ate no choice food, no meat, no wine touched my lips, and I used no lotions at all until the 3 weeks were over. He was fasting and praying. On the 24th day of the first month, as I was standing on the bank of the great river, the Tigris, I looked up, and there before me was a man dressed in linen, with a belt of fine gold of Uphaz around his waist. His body was like topaz, his face like lightning, his eyes like flaming torches, his arms and legs like the gleam of a burnished bronze, and his voice like the sound of a multitude. I, Daniel, was the only one who saw the vision. Those who were with me did not see it, but such terror overwhelmed them that they fled and hid themselves. So I was left alone, gazing in the great vision, and I had no strength left. My face turned deathly pale, and I was helpless. Then I heard him speaking, and as I listened to him, I fell into a deep sleep, my face to the ground. A hand touched me and set me trembling on my hands and knees, and he said, the angel said, Daniel, you are highly esteemed. Consider carefully the words I'm about to speak to you, and stand up, for now I have been sent to you. And when he said this to me, I stood trembling. Then he continued, do not be afraid, Daniel. Since the first day that you set your mind to gain understanding and to humble yourself before your God, your words were heard, and I have come in response to them. But the prince of Persia, the prince of the Persian kingdom resisted me 21 days. Then Michael, one of the chief priests, came to me to help me because I was detained by the king of Persia. Notice that he said, the angel came to Daniel in response to his prayer. And he said, even though it's been 3 weeks, the first day you prayed, you were heard. The first day you set your heart to pray, you were heard then. But there was a demon, the prince of Persia, that withstood me, stopped the answer from coming. But because you kept praying, another angel that was more mighty than I, Michael, came and broke through. And now I'm come because of your prayer. Luke 18, verse 1. Then Jesus told the disciples a parable to show them that they should always pray and not give up. He said there was a certain woman there, in their certain town there was a judge who neither feared God nor cared what people thought. And there was a widow in that town who kept coming to him with the plea, grant me justice against my adversary. For some time he refused, but finally he said to himself, even though I do not fear God or care what men think, yet because this widow keeps bothering me, I will see that she gets justice, so that she won't eventually come and attack me. And the Lord said, listen to what the unjust judge says. And will not God bring about justice to his chosen ones who cry to him day and night? Will he keep putting them off? And so what we see is, we see an example of consistent prayer in both places. Continual and consistent prayer that would not stop because things didn't change immediately. We see Daniel praying for 3 weeks, fasting and praying. And after 3 weeks of fasting and praying, he got his answer. He was determined not to give up until he saw what he needed. He was determined not to stop praying until he saw what he needed. The woman with the unjust judge, the widow, she was not going to give up until she got what she wanted. She was going to wear this judge out. The judge was afraid this woman might attack me if I don't give her what she wanted. He said, but how about God? Will he not, in the same vein, answer those who cry to him day and night? Amen. Hallelujah. Will he not answer them that cry day and night? So God is looking for a people that will cry day and night. It's a problem though, because the flesh don't like to pray. It's a problem. But let's look at some things. How did America get the way that it is? I'm glad you asked. Anybody here? Well, I'm sure I can look at some gray hair. People that were born around in the 60s. Okay. Yeah, gray hair generally means 60.